So, as you all know, Mortal Kombat is just around the corner. I'm stoked, you're stoked, we're all stoked. It looks great. Returning some old characters and adding some new lamer characters. But I have high hopes. I am really looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to assert myself as dominant leader in Mortal Kombat in my group of friends, both orally and anally. And someone at work who's challenged me, which, for other reasons, will be orally and anally. Just like every other game that comes out in any other franchise, there's always concerns, worries, and wants. And Mortal Kombat is definitely one that has a shit ton. Now, I'm not going to be talking about gameplay, because the wants and needs and, you know, curiosities and worries for that, those are abundant. Like, you can go on any video and fucking find at least 20 of them. But story-wise, there's a few things that I'm really hoping they establish or add or work on that I kind of hoping to see to help, you know, keep this franchise as good as it is. And some are more, you know, smaller than others, or might be a little more esoteric, and so I guess they have more of a personal preference. But nonetheless, they're ones that I'm really hoping to see, and there are big ones too. I've made a list of them, and I'm really hoping that I see some of these, if not all. And we've got about 11 here. So I'll start out with the first. The first one is, I want them to cut ties with this fucking alternate reality time travel crap. Like, it was cool at first when they did it in 9 to help reboot the series after how long? And it was cool. But then, you know, they're doing it again now. And this time they're adding an entire other, you know, it's not just time travel, it's both characters from both dimensions. And it bugs me because that's the same exact thing they did with Injustice, the first one. They just hashed it back over to Mortal Kombat. And like I said, the concept is cool and it was well done at first, but they kind of move on to something else. If this is really NetherRealm's only, like, plot, it's, you know, this series isn't going to last too long. So I'm hoping they just kind of wrap it up in some way. I'm not sure if that means reboot the entire series, end the entire series, or just, well, I don't know what else would mean besides either of those two. So I'm kind of hoping to see that. The next one would be, this one's more of a personal one, I guess. I want them to acknowledge, or at least tell us what's going on with Tremor. Because in Mortal Kombat 9, he became one of my favorite characters. I loved using him. He might have been my best character. And he was a cool character, too. When they rebooted him after fucking Special Forces, like, they did really good on making him as a character. He had not only cool moves, but he was just an interesting character. And as some of you might know, that he was the Black Dragon's second-in-command to Kano, which cracks me up just how incompetent Kano is by stabbing his most powerful member in the back. Because it's kind of ballsy. I mean, he does try shit every time. He gets his ass whipped and he's back for more. But I want them to kind of, like, you know, touch on what happened to him. Because he was sent to the Dream Realm, if I remember correctly, which I guess they make canon. But instead of dying like he was supposed to, he was able to conquer the Dream Realm and come back even more powerful than he already was. But there was more going on with him, because in an intro between him and Bo Rai Cho, there's a little conversation where he says something along the lines, he's like, I wish to form an alliance. And this seemed pretty interesting, because he was a Black Dragon member, but now after being betrayed, he's going to Bo Rai Cho for a alliance. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that could mean, but does it mean that Tremor's going to turn the tables? Because as far as I remember, Bo Rai Cho was, you know, one of the good characters. He helped defend both Earthrealm and Outworld. So is Tremor going to be good to become a new character, or is this whole new plot going to make it so Bo Rai Cho is not exactly, you know, a protagonist anymore? He's more of an antagonist. But still, I really want them to touch on him, because I was a bit disappointed when I saw that new Sands of Time character, because as soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh, Trevor's not making it in here. Like, there was no fucking way in hell. Like, you saw his moves, they were just total copy and cut and paste move with the same fist punch that Tremor has. But I at least want him to go over him a little bit. Another one would be, I want them to establish that some of the guest characters aren't canon. And I know this is kind of pointless and for the most part, but it's something that kind of bugged me. Like, I didn't hate the horror characters, but like, to me, they just didn't fit into Mortal Kombat. Like, they weren't even as powerful, let alone even as skilled of fighters as Mortal Kombat character. Like Jason and Freddy have like some supernatural power, but like, how does it stack to Ermac? He can literally rip people apart with his thought and shrink them, and as well as like, they don't have the fighting skill to hang with any of these characters. They're all like grandmaster martial artists, and fucking Jason's just literally a retard in a hockey mask. Like, he's strong, but we've seen Sub-Zero punch open broken, frozen over nuclear, what's the word I'm looking for? Bunker doors. He punched them open with his fist, shattered them. And nothing Jason has done is even remotely close to that strength. But I just kind of wanted to touch on it, saying, hey, these characters aren't part of the Mortal Kombat story, which, might be nothing but a fever dream, because I feel like they will establish that they are. I mean, for fuck's sakes, they added the Dream Realm, which was only ever put in after Freddy was announced as a DLC character for 9. But hopefully, that'll just be its own thing altogether. Speaking of realms, the other thing is I wanted to touch over is the other realms. Because there's quite a few. There's some that have been forgotten that have been in the series, and that they haven't really touched back over again. One being the Chaos Realm, which is where Havoc is from, and the Order Realm, which is where I believe some of the Elder Gods are from. There was a lady chick in one of the Mortal Kombats who was from the Order Realm, and I forget what her name is. She wasn't a very great character. People didn't use her too much, but she wasn't a terrible character. But the realm's there. And then there's also Edenia, which I know was conquered by Shao Kahn, but I don't think he destroyed it. And it's mostly just been Outworld, Earth Realm, and the Nether Realm. There's also the Dream Realm, of course, like I said before, but there's also other realms that they don't touch on, because somewhere along the line, reading about Shao Kahn, it said he conquered 10 realms, which there's only about like 6 that I can name. So there's other realms out there. I mean, infinite universes and all, but I want to know which other ones that he's taken over. So I want them to touch on that. And going back to Shao Kahn, one of the other things I want to see in this story, and this one's a big one for me, because it's going to bug the shit out of me if they don't go over this, or if they pull this bullshit. I want to see Shao Kahn beat the living shit out of Kotal Kahn. Like, I need to see that. I need to watch him do it. Fucking, cause I swear to God, if they fight and Kotal wins, I'm done. I'm done with this game's series story, and I have no more trust in NetherRealm Studios or Ed Boon to make a story. There's no fucking way in hell should Kotal stand more than 10 seconds against Shao Kahn. Like, he's one of the most powerful people in the entire series. Like, Kotal was his fucking bitch, like, before. They established he was a lieutenant, and he's like, yeah, and everyone who works under Shao Kahn is his bitch. And so if this guy who can defy the Elder Gods and almost take over Earthrealm only to be defeated by Liu Kang, who is one of the most powerful characters, gets beaten by Kotal, I'm just fucking done, dude. Like, that's not doing him justice. That's just fucked up. Other things I want to show that are also to do with characters is I want them to give the characters a base power level. And this is a weird thing to say, but it kind of has to do with stuff like Death Battle. Whereas, when they size up the characters and go over the stats and all that, I want them to give them more of a little, a buff. Because some of the things they do are incredibly impressive. Like, Liu Kang's able to kick down statues and Shaolin monks, and Raiden was catching fucking F-18 jets out of the sky with his bare hands. I was like, damn. But then other times, they're just punching each other around, and they could maybe scrape a door or break a piece of wood, and I'm like, you don't have a consistent power level. I mean, they can punch each other through walls, and other times they have struggles breaking out of a cell door. So I want them, kind of touch on that, and make them seem like they're not that fucking, much of a pushover. Another thing I want to see I really want to see is the fucking end to the pop culture references. And I know they're fun, and I know they're funny, especially coming from Johnny, but holy shit, dude, like, the hashtag thing he says, and Cassie with the selfies, like, God, please don't. Just don't pander to that fucking culture. Fucking goddamn meme culture. Just, God, it's funny at first, but then after a while you're like, I can't take this seriously. It's just stupid. And, you know, they're always gonna bring up something to reference to any modern day thing. Like, the one I'm really hoping not to see is fucking Trump jokes. Please, for the love of God, I don't put that in there. I'm not even saying I'm a supporter of him. I'm just saying, like, I am so sick of the jokes from every single fucking thing. Like, every show, any conversation, people have to reference him and make a joke. Like, it's such a fucking cop-out. I swear to God, people do it, and shows do it only to seem relevant. They know if they fucking jump on that bandwagon and say some joke about him that people are gonna tune in and listen to it. It's like a desperate attempt to, like, you know, recapture a certain amount of fame. And it just gets old. And just focus on literally anything but. Another thing I want them to go over is in terms of Sub-Zero. This is one of those more esoteric specific ones, but I want them to kind of touch over his origin stories again. Because if you remember correctly, he was, you know, he's an assassin of the Lin Kuei, and that's how it's been for a while. But at some point, and I think it was after 9 or before 9, they established Sub-Zero as he wasn't fully Chinese or something. He was actually American, and his father was a Lin Kuei operative in the U.S. And then when they were old enough, he took, you know, Huai Liang and Bihan over to China, where I guess the main bases of the Lin Kuei to train as assassins. But I feel like somewhere down the line they retconned that, but they didn't officially do it. Like, they didn't say like, oh, that's been changed. It was just something that was there, and then they never touched base with it. Like, it doesn't really matter if one or the other, which one it is. I just want them to acknowledge which one it is, because that would be super nice. Another obscure one was, this is one that's been bugging me and my friends ever since we started playing Mortal Kombat, or at least with each other, is they never explain how characters are able to block certain moves. Like Ermac is probably the biggest enigma. Like, you'll see him in the story, and he'll just be like walking around, and he'll like rip people in half with his telekinesis. He'll blow up Jax's arms, rip trees out of the ground. He'll just kill people with a single thought. But then when you're fighting him, when the characters are fighting him, like, how does he not just be like crush him into a cube? Like, there's no way he's not like, oh, I forgot to use my telekinesis in this fight. You know, it's the main thing about me, but I forgot it halfway through, and it was already too late. They already beat me. Like, it can't be that. Like, I've always maybe thought, you know, maybe he just honors, you know, the fight, and he's like, okay, I'm not gonna do some over-the-powered bullshit. But that's also kind of stupid, too. So I don't know, like, do they have a way they can block his telekinesis? Is there an explanation to it, instead of just leaving it as it is? I mean, it's not too important, but, you know, it does beg a lot of questions. So I'm hoping they were gonna go over that. I wanted to also bring up Triborg. I kind of wanted them to, you know, establish whether he's canon or not, because I like Triborg. I actually liked him more than Sector and Cyrax in terms of a character, because he was all of them. He had Smoke 2 and Cyber Sub-Zero, which is technically 4, but he was a cool character. He was one of my best in 10. It was a perfect way to bring back the ninja characters, or Cyrax and Sector, without, like, you know, fucking over the timeline that they made. Because in the comic, in MKX comic, Sub-Zero kills both, well, Cyrax sacrifices himself, but Sub-Zero just rips Sector's head off, and they're gone. They kill him off in that timeline. So it's like official. So Triborg was a great way to bring them back in a way, but not totally break the already set canon story of it. And he was cool. His moves were cool. So I'm hoping they'll bring him back if they, you know, decide to stick with that. And what else? There was another thing that I really wanted to talk about. I want them to touch over the DC versus Mortal Kombat. Because if I remember correctly, in the Mortal Kombat universe, that's canon. The DC universe crossing over, it's canon with the Mortal Kombat universe. And in Injustice 2, they kind of, you know, they retouch on that, or at least, you know, confirm that it's still there. And they'll bring up events that happen, like Sub-Zero brings up them fighting Darkseid together, and he references remembering Darkseid in one of his quotes. So I'm hoping they'll go over that again, and maybe that'll lead to another Mortal Kombat versus DC universe. I mean, if not, then, you know, whatever. But still, I'd like them to, you know, go over it, because that's a cool concept. It's like, you know, Marvel's got, like, Capcom to go up against, but, you know, Mortal Kombat has DC to go up against, which, in my opinion, is way better. And probably one of the last things I want, which is the big one for me, maybe it's probably the biggest one for me, and there's a few of them, is I really want them to reestablish Liu Kang as the protagonist. And I know he's not everyone's favorite, and I think Ed Boon, I don't remember if he said he didn't like him or not, but he's the champion of Mortal Kombat. That's how it's always been. And none of the other characters are really fit that role. Like, please, like, Cassie, please God, no. And, like, they couldn't do Sub-Zero or Scorpion because they're the two most popular, but having one be the main character and the other isn't would just, you know, kind of point out the bias of Scorpion a little too much, because you know it would be him if it was either of the two. But he was already established. Like, he's honestly one of the coolest characters, I think. He's one of my favorite. I mean, Sub-Zero is my all-time favorite, but Liu Kang is still a great character. Besides, he's the Bruce Lee character. He's supposed to be the best. Like, if you have a Bruce Lee character and he's not the best, then it's weird. At least to me, like, fucking Tekken did it. I didn't like that. But he's defeated Shang Tsung, like, how many times? Like, Shao Kahn twice, and then he stopped Shinnok's invasion. He was the most skilled fighter and arguably one of the most powerful characters in the series. Like, I don't want it to be someone else, because it just really couldn't fit the role. And another thing about that would kind of concern me is I don't want them to totally, like, dump on Liu Kang like they have been lately. Like, the way he died in this timeline was kind of pathetic, especially compared to how he died last time, which was like Quan Chi and Shang Tsung catching him off guard and using deception and magic to fucking pretty much just sucker punch him, killing him because they were too scared to fight him head on. So that kind of works, but God, the way they did it last time was just bad. And then you all see the little clip where they're fighting Garrus, I forget the guy's name, the Sands of Time dude, and they're fighting him, and he's like kind of, you know, like blocking all their shit, like I don't know, maybe if it was Kung Lao that he was fucking with, I'd be like, okay, huh? But Liu Kang should honestly just walked up and beat the fuck out of him. I don't want him to be this, you know, immortal god character, but, you know, when you've already set him as the champion of Mortal Kombat, the main protagonist, and the guy who's just defeated literally everybody, you gotta do him some justice. You can't just fucking just shit on him like that after all this time of being such a fucking important character. But, you know, then again, that's not something I would be surprised if they did, because they're definitely doing a lot of janky stuff like that, which kind of ruins a lot of the, you know, the story and character arcs that they've already created. And it's a hope that they go over some of this, because I think that was it for now, and I'm sure I'll figure out some later, and the game comes out in like fucking 3 days. But I really had to rant about these things, because I'm really hoping that some of these get touched on, because some of them aren't explained, and some of them are something that should just be there. I'm hoping. But either way, I'm sure the game's going to be great, and there's a lot of gameplay things I want them to keep, but like I said, that's a fucking list that would never end. Like, there's not a single game where you couldn't list off the top of your head like 20 things that they could have changed or added that would make it better. But I'm sure a lot of people have a different opinion on all these than I do, but I'm just hoping some of those are, you know, give me something here, alright? I'm gonna have the best of luck with game wants. I mean, for fuck's sakes, I didn't want Alien to be in there, but they added him anyways. And you know You know Pennywise is gonna be in there with that. That's gonna suck so bad. God, what a waste of a character slot. But they're gonna do it. You know they're gonna do it. Just fucking add Spawn instead. Please. What a fucking clown.